This is Chris Dale, and you're listening to Southeast Rec Metal Radio? Was it radio or not? Should I do it again properly? Hi, this is Chris Dale, and you're listening to Southeast Rec Metal Radio.
Hello, Chris, and welcome to Rec Metal.
Why, thank you very much.
You have been a lot in the front line lately because of the Scream For Me Sarajevo movies. So tell us a little bit about how did the whole movie project start?
First of all, the use of that word, the front line. I've not been on the front line for many years, thankfully. The movie started because... Oh, this is perfect for filming, isn't it? The movie started because I wrote an article on a website called Metal Talk, describing about the gig that we did back then, 24 years ago, whatever it was. And I really wanted to tell the story, because it was kind of weighing on my mind a bit. And it was nice just to get it all out, I thought, in writing. And had a great reaction, lots of people read it. And of course lots of Bosnians read it, and that was the amazing thing. When I started getting emails from Bosnians saying they remembered the gig and how amazing it was for them at the time. The two Bosnians got in touch with me, both with the idea of making a film documentary type thing out of it. One was Tatjana Boni and the other one was Jasenko Pasic. And we started collaborating together on the idea. We got more people involved. I got in touch with Alex Elena, the drummer on the gig. A couple of the UN guys came forward and helped out. I got in touch with Bruce, got him into the film.
It was pretty jaw-dropping, the scale of the war and the inability of the UN to do anything about it.
We've just done a load of touring. We've done America, we've done Europe. And so another gig, no big surprise, except of course he said it's in Sarajevo.
From my point, I just wanted the story to be out there and for it to be told truthfully. But what the Bosnians managed to do, they got a proper film producer involved, Adnan Chara, and a director, Tarik Hodges, who was absolutely amazing, and that took it into a new level of serious professional documentary films. Because we're following teenage rock fans and what it was like for them living day to day in a war. But I wasn't really expecting anything out of this film, and so what's happened with it has been all the more shocking.
You see up there, that brown line just below the top of the hill? That's the Serbian front line. They're watching us now like we're watching them. I was like, oh, right, yeah, but they're watching through sniper sights.
This guy jumps out in the middle of the road and points AK-47 at us.
Right, this is worse than we thought, isn't it?
It was astonishing.
Did you actually realize back in '94 what was going on there when you went to Sarajevo?
Well, I was very much aware that there was a war, but I wasn't aware of the scale of the fighting that was actually going on in Sarajevo at the time. I thought naively that we wouldn't go anywhere that's properly dangerous. I didn't think Bruce would go anywhere properly dangerous. I didn't think his management would let him. Obvious business things. You don't take your artist into a war zone. And the UN were there, and I assumed that they were keeping the peace to some extent. And it turned out that wasn't the case. And
about the soundtrack of the movie, did you have any fingers on it? What songs did you pick up on the album, or was it someone else who picked all the songs for the soundtrack?
It was Bosnians who chose the songs. It was Jasenko and Alin, and what they did was they then they translated a lot of the lyrics, gave them to the producer Tarik, and he looked through the lyrics and chose a lot of the scenes that went into the film. Chose a lot of the music based on the lyrics, so the lyrics reflect what's happening on screen. And then me and Alex Elena went over to Bosnia together to do the filming. Bruce was supposed to come over at the same time, but then he got his cancer diagnosis, so his filming had to be done about a year later.
This one's about broken promises.
back in '96, you did an album called Skunkworks, and it was highly criticized.
First of all, this idea that it was criticised at the time is not true. I don't know. I mean, Bruce said that in his book. It's like the press reaction wasn't good. It was amazing, the press reaction. We had 4K review in Kerrang. We had, I think it was 8 out of 10 in Metal Hammer. It was really the reaction of Iron Maiden fans, you know. Bruce was, I think, hoping, and the management were hoping to sell this album to Iron Maiden fans. And I never thought that was going to happen, because the Maiden fans, obviously, they like the sound of Iron Maiden. And they're fans of Bruce, but they don't want to hear him doing something else. Why would they, you know? You know, we made an alternative rock-sounding album, but it was never going to sell to Soundgarden fans, because they were fans of new music and they wouldn't touch anything by the singer of Iron Maiden, you know? So we were stuck between a rock and a hard place. I guess I usually only hear from people who like it. Nobody's going to email me and say they didn't like it. But yeah, I do get a lot of mails and things on Facebook for people just saying, oh, I really enjoy that album, and that's always wonderful to hear.
What happened then? Because I think the album was great, the Skunkworks album, and then suddenly the band, you know, it stopped, and then Bruce got the new guys in.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I'm not sure how many sales they expected to make of the record. And, you know, from my point of view, it was a great selling record, because it was bigger than bands I'd been in before, but from Bruce's point of view, it was a low-selling record because it sold less than bands he'd been in before, you know? So I think everyone saw it differently there, and I wasn't involved in the finances or having to make money out of it or anything, so it didn't matter to me how many it sold. But clearly, Bruce and the record company weren't happy with the number it sold, so Bruce decided he wanted to go and work with Roy Z and Adrian. Again, absolutely fine, you know, his choice, what he wants to do. So he called us into a little meeting and said, yeah, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to go and work with Roy and Adrian. And of course then they came out with albums that sounded more like Iron Maiden, and therefore appealed to more Iron Maiden fans.
In a tank for a couple of albums.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I knew a couple of the guys. I knew Cliff, the guitarist, and he called me up to do it. You know, I like playing heavy metal bass. I like playing festivals in Europe. That's what I was in it for, and that's exactly what they did. We did a couple of albums as well, and I was good friends with the singer Doogie White. I've been friends with him for years through Alex Dixon. Actually, they used to be in a band together. So to be in a band with Doogie was lovely. You know, we'd been jamming buddies before, but actually being in a band and making an album together, that was great.
And you've also done some charity gigs with Doogie White. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, that was a funny one. That was Doogie called me up again. We're just doing cover versions in a school for charity and helping the school out. And the kid in school organising the gig is Thomas Gers, who's Yannick's nephew. And he's a good young guitarist. So Doogie was going to sing some songs with him, and he asked me if I wanted to play bass. We got a couple of other people involved, but for me it was perfect because my son plays guitar, and of course we jam together at home, but we can't do gigs because he's too young to be in bars. So this was a chance for him to be doing a gig with me in a school, so I got him involved, and we've done it a couple of years now, and yeah, I mean, to be on stage with my son is, you know, an amazing feeling.
Cool. This is a song called Tattooed Millionaire!
Living in a bubble of shit. Many can be moved to
feeling the excitement, you know? Years ago I had that passion and excitement, and now, like I say, unless it's with good friends and good fun, I'm not really that bothered. Just to play bass on another heavy metal record to add to my little collection, I don't know.
What is the latest album or an artist you've been listening to?
Oh, you know what? I'm trying to think of the last album I bought. Not buying the latest albums or getting excited by things these days. I don't know if that's band's fault. It's more likely my fault. That's kind of where it's at for me at the moment. It's also a challenge for me, you know. Like I say, I've made a few heavy metal records. To go into a studio and play some heavy metal bass isn't really a challenge for me. Writing history books, that's a challenge for me these days.
Well, Chris, thanks for this interview. We love to see you playing again sometimes a bass live on stage or in a record.
Oh, thanks very much. I'm sure I will be out on stage time soon. Do you know what? Another band I've been playing for is a London band called Shot Through the Heart. They're a covers band, and they do covers from all my favourite childhood eras. I'm playing Rat and Wasp and Twisted Sister with them, and that's something I can enjoy. That's something that makes me laugh. It has to make me laugh, really, and then I'll be back on stage.
One more question. You have the band called Sack Trick, and you do at least one gig once a year in Denmark, is it so?
That's right, yeah. Sack Trick, again, it's a band that's fun, and we do it for the fun, and we play, as you say, yeah, once a year in Denmark. We have a couple of regular Finnish fans come over, so there's no excuse for not coming over. I think it's December the 14th it's going to be this year in a club called Gimle in Roskilde. And it's just a total fun night out. That's what it's about. So yeah, I am playing every now and then. I'm just not chasing heavy metal bands and that dream anymore. You know.
Thank you, Chris, for this interview.
You're very welcome. Thanks very much. Documentaries, you know, they kind of go out late at night on channels that no one watches, but not this one. It's gone amazing, and then it went to #1 in the UK DVD charts. It's just been silly. Wasn't expecting all that at all. It's been amazing.